So you guys are finally making me do this video. After 4 years on YouTube and well over 1,000 comments and double the messages, I am finally going to fulfill the biggest request I've ever had on the channel. What's up everybody and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source of combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and today I'm going to break down my top 10 favorite boxing gloves. I know a lot of you guys are probably thinking, well, it's about time, because this has been a request on the channel ever since my first video. I get dozens of messages and comments asking for glove recommendations every single day, and it's always ended with, well, what's your favorite glove and would you recommend that to me? To be honest, I've not wanted to make this video for a long time, primarily because what I love and what my favorite glove might be might not mean it will work for you. And that's happened in the past. I've recommended my favorite glove just as a fun recommendation, and then some people have just flat out hated them. That's why I always focus on you, not me. That, and it's very hard to narrow down just 10 gloves that I like to use, because honestly, 99% of the gloves that I've owned and used, I've actually enjoyed using. On top of that, guys, not to sound corny, but every time I review one of these gloves, I have to make that my favorite glove. That way I can give it all the time, love, and attention it needs so you get the best possible review. That's why my reviews are so detailed and sometimes long-winded, because I'm giving you every single detail you need before you go and buy them, basically. However, I've heeded your requests and I was able to narrow my top 10 list down with a few honorable mentions as well. But before we go into the actual list itself, I'm gonna set some ground rules. First off, these gloves have to be categorized as training gloves, meaning that I can do anything with them, whether it be sparring, bag work, or mitt work. So that means gloves like the Rival RB10 here, which I've gone on record by saying is one of my favorite bag gloves I've ever used, won't be on the list because they're specifically for that, bag work. But don't worry, I am going to make a top 10 bag glove and mitt video in the near future. That doesn't mean that sparring gloves won't be on this list. As an example, I have the Ringside Heritage bag gloves and the Ringside Heritage sparring gloves, and they are exactly the same glove. They're both 16 ounces. They both have the same exact foam composition. I was actually having an in-depth conversation with Carlo from C-Squared, the best reviewer on YouTube, about this. Most companies will say sparring glove or bag glove nowadays, even though the foam is built to do both, just so you can buy two gloves from them, like in this case here. So Ringside capitalized on the money that I spent. So with that said, don't be surprised if you see a sparring glove on here. They count because a lot of the sparring gloves out there nowadays, you can do everything with. Multiple pros do this. It's okay. The third topic of discussion is going to be some major brands out there that I think work for everybody, but they're just simply not my favorite, even though I might use them a lot. So that means gloves like the Hayabusa T3 and the Winning MS600 that, like I said, I use quite often. I like these gloves and I think they work for everybody, but they're just simply not my favorite, though they're always a good choice for anybody. Most of you know I have an absolute love for Cleto Reyes. They will not be on the list at all today, not because they're not one of my favorites. They are just that high of sentimental value for me, but very first pair of professional gloves I ever used was a pair of Reyes that my coach gave to me. Therefore, there could be some sentimental bias toward them. Therefore, they won't be on the list. Do I like gloves more than these? Nowadays, yes, a little bit, but Reyes will always be one of my favorite gloves to go to. So the way that this top 10 list is going to work, just kind of like Watch Mojo, I'm going to do my first 9, then I'm going to do honorable mentions, then I'm going to show you my number 1. So with that said, let's head into the list. All right, number 10 might be a surprise to some of you. I have the Booster BGV L9 training gloves, which is the only Thai gloves that you're really going to see on this list. I've used these for about 4 years. My friend Nick went to Thailand and I gave him some money to send me some gloves back, and he sent them right from his hotel in Thailand. So I was really excited to try these out because Booster was a brand that I had never really tried before. They are a Thai-made brand. They have a ton of really nice equipment. I reviewed these about 6 months ago and I think I gave them an 8 or 9 out of 10, but for me, they just fit my hands great. They're overall comfortable, tons of room on the inside for solid hand wraps, and although they use your standard Thai style of padding, which is usually like a 3-layered foam with usually it's latex, EVA, and then a high density foam, for whatever reason the curvature of the glove just fits better on my knuckles. And on top of it, the padded palm is awesome for partner and drill work. It's also good with sparring, so I can catch really easy. And on top of it, you also have that really nice shield backing back here, which is really nice compared to a lot of gloves, so it really hugs your arm well. And of course it's a Thai glove, so it has a little bit of that curved out hand, but it feels like a Mexican puncher's glove whenever you hit with these. And as you know, I love puncher's gloves. I am a puncher myself. I usually throw over 100 rounds per round when it comes to my fight, let alone 200 or plus when I'm just hitting the bags. And these open really easy as well, and I can get really strong grips with these. Overall, very comfortable. My probably kind of a spoiler for my next video, but probably my favorite Thai glove that I've used. If I had to say another Thai glove that I've really liked, I've loved Dacia and I've loved Windy a lot, but for me, these Booster BG VL9s have just been awesome. So they are my number 10. All right, at number 9, we have the Fortress SS 2.0 Vs, and the V stands for Velcro in this case, because you can also get them in lace-up. The SS stands for Super Strap. And when I first got these gloves, I was pleasantly surprised with how good they were, and over the last 3 years of having them, they've held up really well. I've taken really good care of these gloves. I love the colorway. It's like a creamsicle. I love the white and orange color. And on top of it, Fortress really I knew because of their fast wraps, and honestly, I wasn't and still am not a big fan of the fast wraps. They're just really tight on my hands, and I just don't like how they fit and feel sometimes. So when I got these gloves, I'm like, great, how are these gonna feel? And I was shocked. They were so comfortable. The wrist is awesome because you have that double wrist strap going on. You have this one that really secures the top of your wrist, and you have this one that keeps it on your arm. The interior lining is my favorite lining, period. I love when linings are like this. It's that nice, soft, like foamy material on the inside. I put my hand on the inside, it's comfortable. I'm able to move very easily. The thumb's in a comfortable position, and on top of it, although it is a big rounded glove that I would call more of a defensive glove, it's kind of like some other gloves out there. I equate it to kind of like Grant's, in that they're big. They have that type of curvature of the thumb and everything, and they also separate your knuckles from the target, but that latex padding on the inside of this glove gives it such a nice puncher's feel. When I punch in this, I just get unlimited feedback, and overall, comfort-wise, one of my favorite gloves out there. So definitely they deserve a spot in my top 10. And if you're ever able to try these, you know, for the price point that they're at, honestly, for a nice professional glove, Fortress is one of my favorite brands out there now because of this glove. Still not a fan of their fast wraps. I have my reasons behind that, but definitely these guys deserve their number 9 spot. All right, so I'm technically cheating for number 8 because I have 2 pairs of gloves, but they're virtually the same exact thing. And you're gonna be surprised that I have a pair of Everlast as my number 8. I have the Everlast Pro-Tech 3. Now, the only difference between these 2 pair of gloves, guys, is one is the regular version and one is the gel version. And honestly, there is no difference other than the thumb is gray and this has a very slight layer of gel on the inside. If I'm being entirely honest with you guys though, I've never felt a difference between either one of them. I don't have a preference of which one I'm using at what time. But for me, if you are an amateur and you compete in Everlast gloves all the time and you don't want to just use the Everlast amateur competition gloves, this was the best glove for me. And on top of it, like I said, you know I like gloves that are more forward, heavy pressure, and these are definitely that. But they have excellent wrist support, very easy to clean, very durable. And on top of it, when you spar, I love these because instead of getting a lace-up glove, if you don't want it, you can have the convenience of hitting a bag by putting this on, right? At your, say you have a heavy bag at home, you can just put this on, it's all set. And on top of it, if you want to spar and you don't want to Velcro burn everyone, Everlast gave you this sleeve to pull right over. And for me, that is brilliant. More brands should start doing that. Overall, these gloves give you maximum comfort and support. I really, really love these. For one, Everlast actually did something really, really well. The inside lining so comfortable. The hand compartment just form fits to my fist so well. I love how it feels. And on top of it, they're just comfortable too. And every time I hit the bag, although it's not necessarily a puncher's feel, I definitely feel my punches sink into the bag while I'm getting that nice cradle feel around my knuckles. So overall, the Everlast Pro-Tech 3, definitely one of my go-tos. And for some odd reason, whenever it's like hard sparring time and I'm like getting 2 weeks close to my fight, this is usually the glove that I go to. I think they're just overall a safe glove for me and for my partners. Overall, I've really enjoyed using these. I think they're great for MMA too. All right, at number 7, I have my favorite Top Boxer gloves. I have the Top Boxer Old Schools, and the model actually used to be called Flores. And if you're not aware about Flores gloves, they used to be one of the most popular brands out there as far as training equipment went. Your favorite fighters like Mike Tyson, George Foreman, Muhammad Ali, and even Joe Frazier would use these. And my boxing coach even used Flores back in the day of the 60s and 70s. He said one of the most major brands you would see in the gym was always Everlast. you'd see Flores and you'd see Toughwear back in the day were the biggest brands that people would use. And he said Flores was very popular amongst a lot of punchers. They were a horsehair style glove, and actually what Top Boxer did, which is what they kind of did with their 1940s glove, that used to be my favorite Top Boxer glove till this one came along, they used a polyfill kind of to replicate the soft plush padding of the old school gloves, and they used that, only they made it a little bit firmer with a little bit more modern padding. So you get that horsehair feel without there actually being any horsehair. It's actually a plush foam on the inside. Overall, the interior lining is so soft and comfortable. The glove has tons of room for nice thick hand wraps, and they are a awesome puncher's glove, and they have that nice Mexican craftsmanship to it, and I love these so much because of that nice, just smoothed over brushed leather look. Looks like a classic pair of gloves and nothing more. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated about them. The fanciest part about it is the Top Boxer logo that you have there on the wrist cuff. Overall, very well made, and on top of it, Top Boxer always makes some of the best equipment out there for very inexpensive prices. So if you're ever in the market for a nice puncher's glove, I actually like these more than their Top Boxer Aliens. I like them more than their Win 1s, so I do love their Win 1s. And I like them more than the 1940s gloves that they have. So these overall, their Flores style or their old school style training glove, number 7 on the list. Definitely one of my favorite go-tos. All right, folks, so number 6, we have Trevor Whitman's brainchild. We have the Onyx X Factor training gloves. And these gloves, for me, for my opinion, probably the best MMA big glove that you can get out there. I think there is not a better big boxing glove designed for the sport of MMA than these. So if you ever wonder what my number 1 recommendation is, if you are a professional MMA fighter and you're like, I want a pair of big gloves that will last me forever, I would get these. I think they are phenomenal. They're actually one of the first gloves that I reviewed on the channel all those years ago. I've had them for 4 years and they're still going. They haven't shown any sign of wear, and that's because of the very durable microfiber composite that you have on the outside. They come feeling pretty broken in to begin with, but guess what? You actually skipped the break-in process by a heat moldable foam that you have on the inside of the glove that's also shock absorbing, so it's very protective for your hand. And when you heat it, you basically put your hand in, you move it around, it kind of molds your hand a little bit, and on top of it, it skips the break-in process. I have a teammate that has a pair of these, and he told me that was the best recommendation I've ever made for him, and he doesn't want another pair of gloves ever. And he used a couple different pairs before getting these. Overall, the double wrist strap is awesome because actually, unlike other gloves that say they're connected, this glove, you can see literally when I pull this in, it pulls the entire side of the thumb in, giving you a natural thumb position. When I put my hand on the inside, it's just comfortable. Overall, it's a very comfortable glove, one of the most comfortable hand compartments I've ever had. You want to strap the bottom down, then you strap the top. The other thing about these gloves, guys, is that Trevor Whitman says you don't need hand wraps because of that X Factor system you have going on here on the back of the glove. And honestly, I agree with him. You can wear hand wraps in these, but overall, very protective gloves. Even if you're a puncher, they give you a nice solid feedback whenever you hit the bags. They're very flexible, like I said, for MMA sparring, even for Muay Thai sparring. I see a lot of Muay Thai guys using these gloves now, and for good reason. So overall, I think the Onyx X Factor, definitely one of my favorite gloves out there, but there are a few that I like a little more. All right, guys, we're getting up to the big boys, the top 5, and we're going to start out with the Rival RS1 2.0s, and I absolutely love these gloves. Yes, like I said, they are technically a sparring glove, but Rival markets it that way, probably because you want to get a couple different gloves from Rival. But at the end of the day, guys, I love using these for bag work, for pad work. I've had these gloves for 4 years. They're holding up just fine. The foam hasn't smushed in like Rival says on their website at all. And overall, as far as sparring gloves go, specifically sparring gloves, probably my favorite sparring gloves out there that have that word sparring gloves on it. Overall, the comfort that you get with a Rival glove, for me, I think Rival is probably my favorite, if not one of my top 3 favorite brands out there, because of the comfort that you get with them and the durability. And when you put your hand in this glove, guys, it just, out of any glove I've ever used, the most natural fist you've ever felt. It just feels correct to be put in this glove. The foam is nice and soft but firm at the same time, giving you a nice different type of layer of density going on there. Whenever I punch the bag, I get a nice unique recoil. At the same time, I feel my hand just getting cradled because of that, and because of that foam on the inside. Overall, too, they're not made of leather. They're actually made of like microfiber on the outside, and it's very easy to clean and maintain. And you also have tracks for your laces here, so it guides you in a proper lace shape. And they're also lace and loop friendly. And as you can see, I have my lace and loops on these. Why? Because I've been using them a lot over the last 2 weeks. I absolutely love these gloves. Very good for any puncher, for any pillow style, defensive style. Overall, a great hybrid glove. One of my favorite gloves of all time, and that's why they're in my top 5. All right, guys, nearing the top at number 4, we have the Salvador HF training gloves, a pair of gloves that I've had for about 2 years. I reviewed these guys, and I think I said for me personally at the time they were a 10 out of 10, and I said for most other people, because they are a horsehair foam blend, might not be the best supportive glove for some brittle hands out there. I gave them like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 maybe, but overall for me, I gave them a 10 out of 10 at the time because I first got these out of the box. I'm like, I love these gloves. Out of every Mexican-made glove that I've ever used, probably my favorite right here. There are some other gloves out there that I know I haven't tried yet, but flat out, I have loved these from top to bottom. The first thing I noticed when they were on Box Up Nation was, for me, you know I'm a sucker for this color orange. For Syracuse Citrus Orange, my favorite color ever. I grew up an hour away from Syracuse, and you always saw Syracuse orange all over the place. Orange and navy blue are just my favorite color combinations, but this orange just popped out, and the whole glove is orange. I want to find orange laces to put on this glove as well. But overall, they look cool, and I told Box Up Nation, I said, please save me a pair. I'm buying them simply because that color. And I tell you what, when I got them out of the box, to this day, never had a leather that has smelled this nice. I mean, to this day, 2 years later, they just smell of the highest quality leather, like you're walking into a leather coat shop, and I absolutely love it. And the leather is so soft and supple, and it's so high grade, and it's a very thick hide on the back of the glove as well. And it's one of those gloves that has like that nice foamy texture on the back of it, giving you more of a recoil. So it's like an added layer of foam for your knuckles, and it's an added layer of that nice extra pop. Overall, they're a flat brim glove, and they aren't necessarily top heavy. They're decently well balanced, definitely a little bit more towards the top, not too much, but when you put your hand on the inside, guys, let me open this up a bit. I changed the laces because the laces they came with were a little short, but the hand compartment, super soft, super comfy. You got tons of room on the inside to put hand wraps on, so even if you do have brittle hands and you want a puncher's glove with some latex and horsehair, wrap your hands up big and give these gloves a try, because I absolutely love them. Definitely up there in price, like the $240 to $300 mark, but at the end of the day, very high level and high quality Mexican made gloves. That horsehair foam combination is awesome. I love sparring in these. Hitting the bags in these is awesome. The crack you get off these, absolutely awesome. Someone once asked me if I like these more than Reyes. My answer is yes, I do. I love these gloves, and for one, even the orange color is cooler than the Reyes gloves I have. Although Reyes will always have that sentimental place in my heart, my favorite Mexican glove that I own and that I have tried goes to the Salvador HF, and that's why they're number 4 on the list. All right, number 3 on my list might shock some people because it's from a brand that is very widely regarded as one of the most manufactured brands out there, and definitely one of the most popular brands out there, but I gotta say, they made a great puncher's glove. The Venom Hammer Lomachenko model has been a glove that has been in my gym bag all the time. For me personally, the fit and feel of the glove between the nicely tight stretched interior lining, the way it fits my hand is just natural for me. And on top of it, the forward weight and motion, just the overall balance of the glove. Sometimes you have gloves out there, guys, that just feel like they're an addition to your hand instead of just being your hand in general. And this is one of those gloves that just feels like it's my hand, only I just have something on it covering it. It doesn't feel heavy at all, and the padding is just a great recoil puncher's padding, and I absolutely love how these Venom hammers feel. I was stunned when I tried these gloves on, and I said that I like them more than a lot of gloves out there, including I like them more than my Reyes, honestly, because of how they feel. I was absolutely shocked, absolutely stunned that a Venom glove made it in my top 10, let alone my top 3. Overall, very comfortable glove, great puncher's glove, very high quality leather. This is the Loma model, so they look even cooler because you got that blue and green color going on there, although it should be blue and yellow a little bit more. But these gloves look awesome, they feel great, absolutely love these gloves. Venom absolutely shocked me with these. So with that said, let's go on to number 2. Before I get into number 2 itself, I just want to say that both number 1 and number 2 honestly interchange with each other every day, and I wish we could tie for a number 1 spot, but we just can't. So I have to designate one to number 2 and to number 1. There's not really any rhyme or reason as to why. I'm just giving you that disclaimer now. But overall, these gloves, one of my favorites out there, and we're going to go ahead and get into it. So stick around for number 1 and my honorable mentions. All right, number 2 on the list, and arguably the prettiest boxing gloves I'll ever own, are the Bryant Boxing Imperial models. And I have models here because one is lace up and one is Velcro. Overall, guys, when people tell me that boxing gloves are just equipment to be used, I have an appreciation for art as well. These are art. No one can argue with me about that. Bryant Boxing makes the prettiest looking gloves on the market. Their metallic stuff does not flake off. It is the highest quality leather. The interior lining is even down to the interior lining looks fancy and cool. And to be honest with you, for the money that they charge for these gloves, I think they should charge more, because just how much time, effort, and thought goes into these gloves. And on top of it, everything Bryant Boxing stands for, guys, I love, like donating their gloves to less fortunate kids at nonprofit boxing clubs. A round of applause to people like that doing that, because I grew up as a kid that didn't have a lot of money in a nonprofit boxing gym as well. And that's one thing I donate to this gym every single year with new gloves. And if I could donate gloves like Bryant Boxing to everyone around the world, I genuinely think everyone's training sessions would be that much better. The leather they use is out of this world. The puncher's feel that you have, it's definitely a type of latex foam, but it cradles your hand in such a comfortable way. And when I tell you that this interior lining is so smooth and comfortable, and it feels awesome. Overall, whenever I use these gloves, guys, which is often, I feel like $1,000,000 just like these gloves look. So overall, be fresh every now and again. Bryant Boxing, thank you for making some of the coolest gloves I've ever used. That's why they're my number 2, kind of tied for 1. Here are some honorable mentions that I have here on the table that just didn't make the cut. And I love all these gloves individually for what they do, and I'm going to talk about them very briefly. Starting out with these. If you remember, I reviewed these, the Phantom Boxing El Cucuy 2.0. I actually did kind of design these with Phantom Boxing, so therefore they are definitely one of my favorites because they're just about designed for me. But you can't get them anymore, so I didn't think it'd be fair to put them on the top 10 list, simply because, once again, you can't get them, and I kind of have bias towards them. I designed them. Even when I reviewed them, if I had any regrets on the channel, I touted them to be so great, primarily because they were perfect for me. Once again, really learned my lesson there, and they're not perfect for everybody. Then I have my Top Boxer Win 1s. I have the Goku version. These are 18 ounces. I also have the original version in 16 ounces, but I absolutely love these. My favorite winning replica out there would be this. Superior Boxing does a very good job, but for me, still, the Top Boxer Win 1 is my favorite winning style glove. I think Superior Boxing is great for their price point, but I think $120 for a glove of this quality, the Win 1's great. Muay Thai glove that I love a lot is the Yokkao Yetis. Yokkao is probably my favorite Thai glove outside of my boosters, but they're definitely more of a pillow puncher's glove. Very soft, plush padding, but I think a lot of people love that when it comes to these gloves. Then on top of it, I also, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, love New Sporting. I like them more than Grants because they are flatter in the puncher's padding direction. They still do a great job. Overall, I love New Sporting, especially for the fact that you can basically get a pair of Grants for like a quarter of the cost of a brand new pair of Grants, and they look cooler too. And on top of it too, I also like the Ringside Omegas. I like Ringsides in general. Ringside just has a special brand, is a special place for a brand for me. I love the Omegas. They're definitely one of the better gloves out there. Probably would rival these with the Heritage gloves, but for me, I think you get more money out of these gloves, more bang for your buck, I guess you could say, when it comes to these gloves. And of course, one of my favorite gloves that I still use all the time, my Infinitude Raptor Extremes. $120 customized boxing gloves. Not bad, and I still use these all the time. Very great puncher's glove, great forward pressure glove. They fit really comfortably. They're very flexible. Overall, honestly, don't know how they didn't make the top 10, but they definitely made my honorables mention list. I don't use these as much as I wish I did because I always have them on display because, let's be honest, it looks pretty cool. It's got my logo on it. Alright, like I said guys, number 1 and 2 can easily be interchanged, but if someone were to sit me down and say, Al, design a pair of gloves specifically for your hands, I'd have to say they go to the Hit and Move All Day Balance. And the reason why, guys, is because for me, I like a glove that's open, that has an outward thumb a little bit more than an inward fixed thumb, and on top of it, I like a shorter wrist cuff, primarily because, or like this length wrist cuff, primarily because in MMA, I want to get a nice solid grip. And in boxing, I like a shorter glove so I can move and slip in the guard a little bit more. I'm more of an inside fighter when it came to my amateur boxing run. So gloves like these is usually what I looked out for when I was training all the time. Just to talk about some of the features with these gloves that I absolutely love is the thick lining of leather that we have here. And like the last couple gloves I talked about, when you pull the hide off, it's a very soft Turkish leather. And on top of it, when I use and put my finger here, I can feel there's like a line of foam that's attached to the lining of the leather itself, which gives it another added cushion to it. On top of it, they look really stylish, and the metallic paint that you get on the front doesn't flake off like a lot of other brands out there. And it's a premium high quality type of leather, and it smells like a premium high quality type of leather. Overall, the padding too for me is perfect because I love a puncher's feel that will cradle my hand in a lot of ways, and I like that nice bounce that I get off of bags, and I love the sound of hitting bags, and these give you such a loud pop when you hit, and I absolutely love that. It's because it's made out of a dart padding. Literally, the owner of the company literally sat down, made his blend of foam, and threw it like a dart to see if it would go straight, because if it went down or up too much, it was imbalanced. And he did this several times, so when you go to punch, boop, it comes right out ready to go. So for me, the glove feels absolutely weightless. It is balanced perfectly. In general, it's not too top heavy, it's not too bottom heavy at all. As you can see, balling my fist, it's not going anywhere but staying right in the middle, which is awesome. And on top of it, like I said, the wrist support is great, and you also have my favorite type of lining, which is that nice, soft, plush, foamy inside lining with tons of room for hand wraps on the inside, and it straps perfect. Wrist support's great, the flexibility of the glove is great, which is why if someone were to ask me if you were to sit down and design a pair of gloves, this would probably be it. So that is why the Hit and Move All Day Balance is my #1 favorite training glove. Alright folks, when I tell you that was the most difficult video to prep and record, I am telling you the truth, because narrowing down 10 gloves to be my favorite was incredibly difficult. I'd say the top 5 was a little bit more easy to go with because those are just my go-to gloves. But my top 10 was definitely difficult. I also hope the honorable mentions helped a little bit, because some of those gloves I do like over others every now and again. And I just want to say this too, although I made a top 10 list, yes, most of those gloves that I've shown you on this camera today have been my favorite, but I will say some of them swap. 7 might be 1 the next day for all you know. You never know, it all depends on my mood during that day. And especially number 1 and 2 between the Bryant Boxing and the Hit and Move, for me, they just both fit my hands perfect. They both are very high quality gloves, and they're great. With that said too, once again, just because these were my favorite gloves does not mean that they have to be yours, and that also means don't bash me for liking a specific glove. It's no bias, it's no anything like that. It's just whatever fits my hand and makes me feel good when I'm training is going to be my favorite. And that's basically what it comes down to. So if you're like, how could that be your favorite? It's because it is. That's just how it goes. There is no rhyme or reason to it. It's just what I like to use. And if you can't accept that, I can't help you. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm so happy I was able to sit down and do this video. I'm thinking about doing it annually, so this is the 2023 version. Next year will be the 2024 version. I'll probably do it around the same time. So with that said, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, as it goes a long way to help the channel. As always, comment above all. That way you can talk to me what you want me to review next and what you want me to do next on the channel. I'm also very excited to say by the time you watch this video, I will probably be walking, well, not walking down the aisle. My wife to be will be walking down the aisle. I'm getting married in just under 12 hours, and I am nervously making this video because I am excited to take that next step in my life. So please wish me luck, everybody. When I see you, I will have a new Mrs. Morrow. So Tori, if you're watching this, I love you, sweetheart, and I'll see you in a couple hours. And as always, folks, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thanks for choosing your source for combat sports. I'll see you around.